So the reason that I have included this stretch routine within the massage course is because arguably stretching is just as, if not more important than massage when it comes to creating and maintaining a healthy body. And so we all know that whenever you use your teeth throughout the day, you really need to brush them at the end of the day, or else you'll start to build up cavities or bad breath. But it's not so common knowledge that if you don't unwind your muscles at the end of the day, you start to build up pain and tension. And so we all have about 600 skeletal muscles that create all of the different movements of the body. But thankfully we don't need to remember 600 different stretches. Whenever you break it down, each like joint action that happens, there's multiple muscles that are used. So if I stretch my neck over to the left, that's going to be using about 15 to 20 different muscles. And so with that, when you really break it down, there's only about 56 movements, and since we have two sides of the body, that's about 100. Thankfully, we don't even need to remember that many stretches, because I've been able to develop a holistic stretch routine that addresses all of the different movements by multitasking and do many of them within a same motion. And with that, it breaks down to 23 different moves. And so with that, you can do that every night for about 5 to 10 minutes. And I highly suggest doing it right before bed. That way you can habit stack. And so once you build up that habit, it'll start to feel weird not to even do it before you go to bed. And so that way you can't forget. So Cody here is going to help me demonstrate how to do this, and it'll take us about 15 to 20 minutes to get through it. She's never done it before, and so I personally orchestrated it that way so that you can see the different pitfalls that arise while learning it. And so here we go. So the first one here, Cody is just simply hanging. According to Dr. John Kirsch, he's a board-certified orthopedic surgeon, if you simply hang for 30 seconds 3 times a day, that will take care of 99% of shoulder pain. And so it's very simple. You want to just kind of ease into it so that you don't jar your spine. But yeah, it's just elongation of the spine. It really gets to all of the lats and everything in here. It's just wonderful for the body and very simple. Okay, and next up is we're going to stretch out the pecs. And so she's going to place her hand right on the edge of the door frame. And then so with this, she wants to make sure that her elbow is making contact with it. If you don't do that, if you let the elbow come forward, then you can start to create a valgus angulation, which is basically a tweaking of the elbow, and everything will start to get out of alignment. So you don't want to put that undue pressure right there. You want to brace it on the edge of the door frame, and then she's stepping forward with the right foot, and then while not letting this shoulder come forward, some people like kind of let it bow forward. And then she doesn't want to do that. She wants to keep it back and then leaning forward and then twisting to the left. And you feel that stretch right there and here? You can talk.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah? Okay. Good. So that's how you do that. And then you generally want to hold these for about 15 to 20 seconds or so. If you have less time, 5 seconds is better than nothing. So that's how you do that. And then you'll just do the exact same thing on the other side. So go ahead and turn around, and then we'll just see it from the back side. So this side, she's going to be stepping forward with the left leg, and then have everything right up here. See, if she's down here, it's not going to be quite as good of a stretch because the pec, it comes and attaches right through in here. So to create more stretch, the further up she goes, then that creates more spaciousness in between the pec whenever she comes over this way. So she's twisting over to the right, bending down a little bit as well, and then not letting this go forward. She wants to keep it back. All right, so number 3 is we're going to bring both hands together like so. And then you push them together while keeping the elbows straight. You're pushing them together and then rounding out the back. So you just created more of a broad shoulder, so you want to round them out, bringing those together, and then you're pushing those. And then so do you feel a stretch like right in between the scapulas? Mm-hmm. Perfect. So turn 90 degrees to the, there you go. And then so she's bringing hands together like that, and then you can see how she's rounding out the back like this. And then so that creates the perfect environment for that stretch. Okay, cool. That one's easy. And then the next one is just stretching out the posterior deltoids. And so you'll grab hold right here and then pushing over to the left. And she's making the very common mistake. What you want to do is bring this shoulder down and then coming over. And so once again, it wants to come back up. So bring it down and then come over. But don't let the body twist to the left. You want to keep the body straight. Get this shoulder down and then coming over. And she's doing the kind of technique I like to do, to where she's got the palm forward, and then that just kind of creates a fun technique. It's also possible to come across like this, but I just find that like I'm able to get a little deeper in, because when the point of leverage is out here, it pulls it further in. But if it's over here, you don't got quite as much leverage. Okay, and then the other one. Yeah, and then keeping that elbow straight the whole time. Awesome. And then after that, we're going to bring the fists together and punching outwards, keeping the big knuckles together as you straighten the elbows out in front. And then so that creates a really good stretch along the forearms there. Are you feeling that?
Yeah.
Yeah, good.
And then should it be about just yay high?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, just shoulder height. And so you can see how the big knuckles, they're starting to come apart with her. She wants to fight against that. So rather than straightening all the way out, just keep them together, let the wrists bend, and come out as far as she can. Eventually she'll be able to come out further. Like I can straighten my arms all the way, and my big knuckles are still together. She's got some tension that's built up over the years, and she hasn't been doing the stretch routine, so she doesn't have quite the limberness that I do. So right there, keeping those together, and then she just comes as far as she can. There you go. Cool. And then you can do that, you can do one at a time by bringing the fist out like so, and then grabbing hold with the fingers right here, and the thumb is right underneath. There you go. And then just pull downwards as you're using the thumb to brace. Cool, and then turn to the side. You can see how the thumb is right underneath here. She's bracing there as she's pulling downwards. You can feel that stretch right through in there? Mm-hmm. Sweet. And then so you don't have to try so hard with the shoulder as well. You can relax. There you go. And then the next one up is we're going to bring the hands together into a prayer pose, and then pull up. Keep the elbows in. There you go. And then pulling up, and you feel a stretch right along the forearms. Sweet.
I didn't even know flexibility could be in some of these places.
Right. Yeah, and then so you can, that one's kind of weird, but I do it that way because it helps to save time. But you can do it a little bit better by doing one at a time. So it'll create like 26 moves rather than 23, but you just kind of gauge how much time you have. So same thing, you'll have the arm right in front, grabbing hold, and then with the leverage of the thumb underneath, pulling down and using the thumb to keep it in place. Excellent stretch right along the forearm. Great, so that's that one. And then next up, we're going to be doing the fingers. So it's kind of like the prayer pose, except you're going to have the fingers like splayed out like so. And then just pushing them together, not allowing the palms to come together. You're just pushing them in, and that takes care of all the fingers at the same time. And you feel that? Yeah, sweet. Next up is the thumbs. You'll bring this thumb facing outwards, and then bring two fingers right along there, and then using this knuckle to brace against the hand, you'll pull down on the thumb. Got it?
Like this?
Yeah. You feeling the stretch right along through in there?
Mm-hmm.
Good.
I think that's the most flexible body part so far.
Yeah, definitely. You got me beat on that one. So you can do both at the same time as well by doing kind of like a bird thing and pushing them together if you ever just like need to save time. Standing up. Oh yeah, there's two more. So you have pronation and supination. And so we're not going to worry so much about stretching out the supinators because we don't do that too much. But the pronators, we are on the computers a bunch, we're driving and everything, and that uses a lot of pronation. So in order to get that one, you'll bring this elbow like so. There you go. And then grab hold with the fingers right on the thumb. And then you're bracing right here, and then twist outwards. There you go. And then so she's got it kind of up like this. You want to bring it down right through in here. And then keep a fist together. If you don't have the fist, then it starts to put undue pressure like on this wrist and the ligaments right through there. And I've found that having the thumb, or sorry, she's got her thumb out, but so, oh yeah, put the thumb right here.
Okay, and then how do I hold it and grab?
There you go. So you're going to have it twisting, or sorry, not twisting, but flexing like so, and then pulling out. There you go. And then bring this down further, and then twisting out. And are you feeling a stretch right there at all? This is the hardest stretch out of all of them. So, I mean, this one has problems that arise. So you could see how she's like starting to bring this out like so. She wants to keep it up like this, keep it as far into the body as possible, and then twisting out like so. Let me see if I can get you to feel it whenever I'm doing it.
Okay.
So like this, and then twisting out.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, are you feeling that stretch right there?
Yeah. Okay, now I do.
Nice. It's a weird one it's hard to teach.
It's hard to,
Yeah.
I almost need like another hand to really get that.
Right. Yeah, so you got that like so. And so that's the main thing, is like keeping it braced so that it doesn't allow this to open up, and you're twisting outwards rather than twisting this open like this.
Okay, there we go. I think I got it.
Nice.
Okay.
Cool. So that's that one. If you have trouble with it, there is another way that you can do it, and so that's to where you're grabbing hold of some kind of pole, maybe you have a bow staff or something like that, and you can just simply twist like this. Because once you grab hold, then that allows, I don't like it too much because it does seem to put a little undue pressure on the wrist, but as long as you keep everything real tight, you can still do it safely, and then that way that you can just like feel what it feels like, what it's supposed to feel like, and then eventually get to the point where you're able to produce that with just your hands. And next up is she's going to face towards me and then come down to a crouched position.
Crouch.
Yeah, crouch down, let your knees hit the ground, and she's keeping her toes curled under just like that. And then what we're trying to do is get a really good stretch for the toes and under the feet. And so are you feeling that stretch right there? Mm-hmm. Yeah, good. So that is more so focused on the big toe because she has her knees touching. But bring the knees wide out to about a 45-degree angle. And then that allows it to splay out into more of the smaller toes. Are you able to feel that difference? Mm-hmm. Yeah, sweet. So that one's really easy. And then, do you know downward dog?
I believe so.
Yeah, cool. So go for that.
Is this
Okay, so that's kind of downward dog. It works, but you just want to create it a little bit further out. Yeah, okay. So come into more of a plank position first. Okay. So just like a push-up position. There you go. And then come into the downward dog. Oh, no. Keep the hands where they are. There you go. Oh. And then come back into it. There you go. Bring the feet a little bit further together, a little closer together. There you go. And then try to come in further like so.
With my feet or my hands?
Keeping everything where it is, you're just going to try to deepen the stretch. There you go. Keep the ears right next to the shoulders. There you go. That looks much better. And so she's going to be feeling that stretch all along here. And so it's not just stretching the calves and the hamstrings, it's also stretching out the sciatic nerve. So that is an amazing stretch. Okay, and then coming forward again. And then she's going to come into upward dog. And so keeping the knees straight, come back up into it to where the knees...
Wait.
It's all right, it's all right. So come back onto the toes. Yeah, but then come walk the toes back so that the knees will be straight.
Oh, okay. So.
There you go. And then bring the hands back just a little bit. There you go. And then dip forward and bring the head back. There you go. Beautiful. That was majestic. All right. And then so this one, she wants to make sure to keep the head out of the turtle shell. So keeping everything nice and tall. And then coming backwards, she's going to be stretching out the neck flexors as well as the entire front side of the body. So this is taking care of hundreds of muscles. This is amazing. Maybe not hundreds, dozens at least. Okay? Excellent. And then come back onto the knees. There you go. And then just fold forward.
On my toes?
Let the toes come out. Yeah.
Okay.
Cool. She's folding forward. Let the head drop to the floor. So this is child's pose. Very simple.
What do I do with my hands?
So we're getting to that. And so this helps to take care of the glutes and the low back, but we're going to be multitasking. And so she's going to bring both of her hands to the small of the back. There you go. Twisting like so. And so she's got her hands like this. And then she's going to let the elbows drop and splay open and bringing the shoulders down, but keeping the head down as well. And so this helps to get to the rotator cuff. And so it's the external rotators. As she's splaying open like that, she's getting into the infraspinatus and the teres minor. And so are you feeling that stretch right there? Mm-hmm. Good. So with this, she's stretching the low back, the glutes. There's so much going on here, and we're handling it really quickly. Okay, and so that's it for child's pose, and then we're going to come up, and she's going to lean back as far as she can, and this way we're going to get to the quads, and then so, yeah, it's all good. All right, and if you can, come all the way back down onto your elbows, but it's okay if you have to stay on the hands, just work with what you have. Okay, and then she can kind of squat, open. Yeah, she's thrusting open the pelvis, and that creates more of a stretch right through in here. You want to make sure to have the emphasis of the stretch on the muscle belly, not so much on the knees. Cool. And then come to straight up. There you go. Perfect. And then come all the way up. Not standing, but just come straight up. There you go. And then bring the hands to the glutes. There you go. Rounding out the shoulder, bringing the elbows towards each other, and then dropping the head back. So this is getting the entire front section. It's getting the pecs in a slightly different way than we did before, and then really take care of these deep neck flexors. Perfect. And then come facing towards the camera. All right, and then this one, we're going to get an entire side stretch. So bring this hand to the floor here, outstretching this foot over to the side, and then, yeah, she's coming out. There you go. And then she's dropping down the head, so that way we can get the neck flexor as well. Wonderful. Other side. There we go. Very good. Okay, and then come straight legs this way. And now we're just going to touch the toes. So flex the toes back and then bring the hands all the way down. If you can't make contact with the toes, that's fine. You can just come to the ankles, work with what you have. But you want to make sure that you keep the head down the whole time. And that creates much more of a full body stretch. The brain and the spinal cord go all the way down the vertebrae and then come out the sciatic nerve into the toes. This way is the most full body neurological stretch that you can do. Cool. And then bring this foot over this one. And then she's going to interlace her fingers together underneath the hamstring. And then keeping a straight back, head down, and then lean back as far as she can, not allowing this leg to come up like this, keeping it down. And then you feel that stretch right along in the trapezius? Mm-hmm. Good. And then so allow your low back to like round out. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so yeah, like that. You don't want to do that. That's what you'll tend towards that, but you want to keep this nice and straight. That way, whenever you're coming back, it allows for a much better leverage point. Cool. Yep, and then the other side. Awesome. And then she's gonna cross her legs. Oh yeah, in like Indian pose. There you go. And then lay back all the way. There you go. And then bring your hand right behind the head like so. So she's got her hand all the way down the spine like this. There you go. And then pushing or pulling really with the elbow. That way she's really able to get a good stretch on the trapezius, or the tricep here. And since the elbow is underneath her head, she's able to open up the pec and the subscapularis as well. So if you can't make contact with that, that's fine. Just work with what you have. Just make sure that you're really like pulling on the tricep like that. Okay, and then she's going to switch feet. There you go, and other side. Beautiful. All right, and then straighten the legs. And then this one's going to come up and over, and then she's grabbing hold here, and then coming up onto that left side hip. And you see how she's opening up with the pecs. Excellent. And then other side.
This one is just not as flexible.
Cool. And we all tend to have a side that's just not quite as great. So like give it a little extra time. Put double the time on the weak side. And then so you can see how she's all the way up on her side here. That's what helps to really create that deep stretch here, and even get a good back pop on the low back. Okay. And then come on up over here. We're going to do a deep lunge. So on one knee. There you go. Yeah. And then a really good deep lunge. You can see how she's much more forward. And it creates an environment to where she's able to get a really good stretch along the hip flexor here. And the main thing that she doesn't want to do is to let this bow forward like that. You see how it's like kind of driving into her low back. She wants to keep all this straight as she's dipping forward. There you go. Nice. Other side. Cool. And then walk that forward just a little bit more. And then, yeah. Okay. And then bring this knee all the way. There you go. Cool. And if you can't figure out what to do with your hands, you can bring them to your knee.
So do you want to squeeze like the abs to prevent that hip from falling forward?
Yes. Yeah. You can squeeze the abs and the glutes. So having the glutes real tight helps to that. Yeah, it's the abs, because the abs are connected right here, and so whenever you contract those, it helps to pull this posteriorly back and keep it from jarring forward like that. So perfect intuition. Okay, and then next up is the splits. So you'll bring your hands right here and then just splay out into the splits.
Oh, good. Okay.
Very easy.
Oh my goodness, no. No.
Okay.
Oh yeah,
So.
that's a no.
And just to kind of show like what not to do with the splits. So come on into it like you were doing before.
Oh god. I think it was
Yeah, so you can see how she's like forward, like her hip is in front of the feet. You don't want to do that. She's trying to go all the way down to the floor, and that is not the goal here. The goal is simply to stretch the adductors here. So keep the feet, you can have them out like this, but I would rather, she's got the feet bent inwards, so that way we can just focus on the this right here. If she opens the feet up, then that gets it to where we're focused more on the hamstrings, and we already took care of those. Cool. And you see she's like 3 to 4 feet off the ground. She's already got the stretch. This is all she needs. We don't need to be overachievers here. And so if that doesn't feel great, you can do one side. So come down onto this knee.
Oh.
And then keep that one straight. There you go. And then so that way you can get to the adductors right in here without like getting into the weird splits. Sometimes it's just not great. You have that, and then other side. Cool. And you can see how her heel is kind of turned upwards like so. That gets more into the hamstring, but in order to get to the adductors, like right along the side, you want to twist this all the way over. There you go. And are you feeling that right there?
Mm-hmm.
Cool. And then last up is the bedside pigeon. So she's going to bring her foot like so, and then come down into it. There you go. It's kind of like cross-legged. And then she's coming down. And then the best way to get into it is to come over this way with both of the hands. Oh no, like keep everything there, but then yeah, bringing the hands over here, come down onto the elbows. See how she's twisting over to the right? And that creates much more of a stretch along the glutes here.
So then do you want to, like, put, I don't know.
Yeah.
Leaning forward this way?
Uh-huh. Yeah, leaning
into
forward
it?
and twisting.
Okay. So you want your hip up against the couch or bed or whatever?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, that works. As long as you're feeling the stretch right along in here. Is that where you got?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, perfect.
And do you have to start it by standing, or can
No,
you just...
no, you can just jump right into it. There you go. Yeah, see, and she's twisting over to the left and dropping down into it. So typically this this move is done on the floor. It's called the pigeon. And come on up to standing over here. So usually it's done on the floor like this. But you know, late at night when you're getting into bed, if you can do this one last and then just roll into bed, it makes it a lot easier. So it's just, we're trying to make things as convenient as possible. And then so that's it. And one final addendum, as I was editing the video, I realized I forgot a super important stretch. It's actually, if I had 7 stretches to do, this would be one of them, and it's called the tabletop. And so you bring your hands like so, right next to your hips, bring your feet to shoulder width distance apart, and then just come up. Like this. You can drop the head down if you like. Sometimes that kind of adds in a little extra stretch. But the main thing is to have all this like so, and have the fingers facing towards the feet. And then just really activate the lower back to bring that thrusting position up into it. And you should feel the stretch like right along in the scapulas and in the front here. So we're forward all day. working on the computer or driving the car or whatnot, so you really need to unwind all that tension. And more than likely, you're not going to have a rock climbing fingerboard in place for the hanging section. So what you can do is get one of these. This is a pull-up bar that simply uses leverage, so you can put it in any door frame, and you don't have to install anything. As long as you have the frame right here for it to pull on, then you're good to go. And these things are about 15 to 20 bucks on Amazon, and you not only hang from it, but you can also work out on it. So it is a really good investment. That's 20 bucks and you have it for the rest of your life. The reason why I have these right here is because if you wrap around the part that goes onto the door frame, it helps to keep the door frame from getting an indentation in it. And so it's just a sort of a protective mechanism.